welcome back to my channel. It's Tiana Salters with The Lovely Mama Life, and today we are going to be talking about my birth story. I was due January 17th. I went into labor January 17th at 2 a.m. So the previous night, which was a Wednesday, the 16th, Devin and I had went to bed at, 9, 10 o'clock. So he had to get up for work for the next day. And about 2 o'clock, about 1:30, 2:30, sometime in there, I woke up and I had like really, really bad back pain. It wasn't bad, like super bad, but it hurt. And it felt like my back was like burning. And as I was laying there, I laid there for about an hour. And then I woke Devin up about 3:30 and I was like, hey, I think I'm having contractions. Maybe I'm in labor. I don't know. But my back is burning and it hurts. And he was like, okay, well, let's start timing when you have like an increase in pain and let's see how long it lasts. So we started doing that and we timed them for about an hour, and then I realized, okay, this is labor. But they were happening every like 8 minutes to like 13 minutes. So they tell you not to come in until contractions are like 3 to 5 minutes apart. So I was having back contractions for every 8 to 13 minutes. And so I was like, okay, well, they're not going to do anything about that, so let's just go back to bed. So we go back to bed, but Devin tells his boss, okay, like, my wife's in labor, she'll probably end up having the baby later today or tomorrow, whatever, so I'm not going to come to work. His boss said, okay, fine. I understand. I get it. So I go back to sleep. We wake up about 8 or 9, and in that time frame, it's like 4:30 till about 8:39, and I don't sleep. I just pretty much lay there with my eyes closed, tired, wanting to sleep, but I don't sleep. And Devin finally wakes up and he's like, well, how do you feel? And I'm like, I feel okay. Like, I'm just really tired. I want to sleep, but I can't sleep because the constant aching in my back. And by this time, contractions had stopped. So I wasn't having any more contractions. And Devin's like, okay, well, you can just hang out up here all day until it's time for us to, we need to make that move and go to the hospital. And so I'm like, okay, that works. That sounds great. And he's like, I'm just going to give you some space. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to lollygag. I'm going to watch some TV, work on the computer. I was like, okay, I'm grateful for that. So I just lay in the bed literally all day long. I laid in bed. I was on the phone with my mom, who kept telling me, girl, just go to the hospital. You need to go to the hospital. I think you're in labor. I think she's going to come, and da-da-da-da. And I was just like, no, I'm not going yet. I don't want to go yet. So fast forward till that Thursday night. It's about 9 o'clock, and Devin's like, okay, well, let's start getting ready for bed. You're not even having contractions anymore at this point, and the contractions had stopped, completely stopped. So I decided, okay, yeah, that's fine. So Devin's like, okay, let you take a bath. So he ran me a bath, and I took a bath. I just sat there, and I don't know. I guess I thought I was gonna make my labor hurry, but it didn't. I ended up being in labor for 73 hours, but whatever. So I take a bath. I get out of the bath. I get into bed. And I lay there and I try to go to sleep. I cannot sleep for nothing. Devin is sound asleep. Like, he's knocked out. Like, tired. Snoring. Ridiculous. And so I don't notice it, and then I look over and I realize it is like 2 a.m. again. And this time I start having really, really intense, the pain was more intense than previous. And so I was like, okay. And I started to feel my tummy contracting, because at first I didn't feel my tummy. It just felt like it was in my back. And I was like, okay, Devin, like, I think I'm having more contractions, and this time I can feel them in the front a little. And he was like, okay. So I started timing them again, because he was like, well, just time them. Let's see how far apart they are. And at this point, they were like 8 to 10 minutes apart. And I was like, okay, let's just see what we're going to do. And Devin's like, okay, I'm going to go back to sleep. So Devin goes back to sleep on me. Then it's like 4 a.m. and the pain is like getting a little bit more intense. And I can still like talk, I can still walk. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to let him sleep. I'm going to go sit in the bath again and see if that helps. So I come out, I run a bath. I sit in the bath for like 30 minutes, like just sitting there like a big whale, like sitting in the bath. It helps a little bit, but it didn't help like a ton. So I was just like, okay, just whatever. I'm just going to get out. So I get out, and Devin wakes up, and he's asking how I'm feeling, and I'm like, I feel fine. I'm still contracting, but it's only 8 to 10 minutes apart. At this time, it's like, I don't know what time it is, honestly. Devin's like, okay, I'm going to go back to bed. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Then I lay there for probably another 2 or 3 hours, just laying there. And it's about 8 in that morning. Devin wakes up and he gets ready to lounge around the house all day. So he comes out, gets ready for his day to chill on the couch until I'm like, hey, let's go to the hospital. And I lay in the bed, bounce on the ball. I did all of that, and she still didn't come. And so then Devin is like, okay, like, I'm just going to go downstairs. I'm just going to let you be, let you have your moment, let you have some time. If you need me, I'll be downstairs. It's like, okay, fine. So he goes downstairs, and he's, like, chilling for the day. And then about about 2:30, I feel like my contractions are intensifying. And I'm like, okay, maybe this is it. And I like call for Devin, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm having contractions. They're still only about 7 to 8 minutes apart, which is progress from previous. And Devin's like, okay, just keep bouncing on the ball. Do you want to go in? I'm like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital yet. I don't want to go yet. They said 3 to 5 minutes apart. I'm waiting until I'm 3 to 5 minutes apart before we go. And Devin's like, okay, like, it's your body. You feel the pain. Whenever you're ready, we're going to go. And so I'm like, okay. And I think I sit there for another 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours. And I get up to go to the restroom to pee. And when I stand up, I felt like my water was leaking. And so I like called for Devin, and I was like, Devin, I think my water's leaking. And he was like, okay, well, let's just go to the hospital and check and make sure you're not leaking. And I was like, okay. So we go to the hospital. No water was leaking. The nurse was like, honey, you probably just peed on yourself. Just a little bit. It's so common for women to think that their water is leaking or has broken. but in reality, they're just peeing. And, you know, and I was like, you mean to tell me I just peed? And she was like, yeah, probably just a little bit if you finish the rest in the toilet. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you are only dilated 4 centimeters. So, you can go back home. So they sent me home. And Devin and I needed to go to Walmart. We were going to wait to do it until after Zoe came, but I was just like, okay, maybe I can do some last minute walking. And then I was like, oh yeah, I need to go anyway because I need to get some stuff for after birth. And he was like, okay. So we go to Walmart, and in Walmart, I get out of the car. His car is low for me. Like, it's really low for me to get out of. Like, I had, well, maybe because I was pregnant at the time, I had to, like, push myself out of the car. And so I, like, pushed myself out of the car, and we were walking up to the Walmart, and by the time we made it into the basket area, I was like, oh gosh, this is not going to work. I'm not going to be able to walk around this store like this. So what do? I get a little buggy. So I'm like driving that buggy around, picking up the last minute stuff that I need. We ended up getting like some Pyrex dishes. Why we needed Pyrex dishes, I don't know, but we got them. And we go to check out, and I walk out to the car super slow, and we come back home for the night. And we get ready for bed. I have another bath. So 2 baths in one day. I have another bath. And Devin's like, all right, let's just go to bed. Mind you guys, I had not slept since that Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. And so we come back home, we lay in the bed, or Devin goes to bed. I cannot sleep. I don't know why I can't sleep. But about 2:30 again, I feel like this excruciating pain. And I was like, Devin, oh my gosh, like this is the sharpest pain I've felt so far. I'm definitely having a contraction right now. And I wake him up, and he's like, okay. He gets his phone. He starts timing the contractions. The contractions are literally like 8 to 10 minutes apart. I'm like, how do we keep backtracking? How do we keep backtracking? And he's like, I don't know how we keep backtracking. I don't know. It's gonna be okay. And he like rubbed my back and rubbed my toes and everything like that. And he's like, just relax, calm down. Everything will be fine. She'll come when she's ready. I was like, I know. But this was the first time I had shed a tear. And I was like, I'm just so tired. I just want to sleep. Devin, I'm exhausted. I've only slept 2 hours. And he was like, I know. So we called the nurse. The nurse line, you can call like a nurse line or something. And so we did that. And she was like, okay, we'll try to get her to take a Tylenol to see if she can ease up that pain and go to sleep. Y'all, I took the Tylenol. I ain't go to sleep. So, here we are. Fast forward, 8 a.m. We're up. We're getting ready for the day. I'm like, today's the day, Devin. She's coming. I've been in labor for 2 days already. This day was Saturday. And I was like, she has got to come. I cannot continue like this. So I'm bouncing on the ball. I'm walking up and down our stairs in the house. I moved from the bed to the rocker that we had in our room at the time, because when we were going to bring her home, we had her crib and her rocker in our bedroom. That's how big our rooms are here. And so I moved to the rocker and was like rocking and just trying to get her to come. And she was so stubborn. She still didn't come. And then I finally decide, okay, I'm just going to lay down one more time. I'm going to try to nap and see how that goes. I'm going to watch some Once Upon a Time on Netflix or Hulu or whichever one it was on. And so I'm laying there, I have my feet up because they're swollen. They look like little Vienna sausages. And all of a sudden I feel like this, it wasn't pain, it was just like an urge to go to the bathroom. And I was like, holy cow, like I need to go poo. And so I sit up in the bed, and like as I'm trying to sit up, like my bottom, it hurts my bottom to like sit up. And so I like call for Devin. I'm like, Devin. Devin comes running up the stairs. By the time he gets here, because I was sitting on the edge of the bed and that hurt me so bad, I had finally like gotten down onto all fours. And by the time he made it in there, I was on all fours, and I was just like rocking back and forth. And I was like, Devin, I feel like I'm about to poop on myself. Like, I need to poop. I have got to poop. And he was like, okay, calm down, calm down. Let me call my mom and see what we should do. Now, my mom had been telling us to just go to the hospital the whole day. And I was like, no, I'm not going until I can't sit down or I'm crying because I'm in pain. And my mom's like, okay, whatever. And so I'm like, Devin's like, I'm going to call my mom. So he calls his mom. And she says, oh, if she can't sit down and she feels like she needs to push, then you need to get her to the hospital ASAP. So we are like running through the house. We've already had the bags in the car from the previous night or a couple of weeks before. I can't remember, but we had put the bags in the car already. And Devin like grabbed me a jacket. Y'all, it was the middle of January. I was so hot, I didn't even put the jacket on. I walked outside in leggings and a t-shirt with snow boots. That's how I went into labor, y'all. Or that's how I went into the hospital during labor. And so we get to the hospital, and they're like, you guys are back. Hopefully we'll have a baby tonight. And I'm like, I don't care what we have to do. We're getting this baby out. And the nurse is like, whoa, like, mama, calm down. And I was like, I am so tired of being in labor. Like, I am exhausted from just being in labor. I haven't slept. I'm tired. And she's like, okay, honey, okay. It says here that you do not want an epidural and you don't want Pitocin to speed your labor up. And, honey, you are dilated to a 6. The only way that we're not going to send you home is if we give you some Pitocin. And we're going to recommend that you have an epidural because you haven't slept in almost 3 days. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. I give in. I'm like, whatever. It's like 7:30 that night because we got to the hospital about 7:15. So she's telling me all this stuff at like 7:30. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Just do what you've got to do. Like, I want her out tonight. And she was like, okay, I'll call the doctor, let the doctor know what's going on and everything like that. And so we get inside the room, because at first she was telling me all that in triage. And then we get into the room, the delivery room, and they make me get into a gown and everything. And she's like, okay, I'm going to check your cervix before your epidural comes. And she's like, honey, you are dilated to a 7. I've never seen a woman dilate to a 7, still talking, not really yelling, and not crying. You are such a trooper. And that made me feel good because I was like, you labored to a 7 on your own at home. That's good. And then the doctor, the anesthesiologist comes in and he gives me the epidural. And she's like, okay, or he's like, okay, your epidural will kick in about 15 minutes. You won't be able to get up and walk anymore. So just lay down, turn the lights out, and try to go to sleep. I ain't sleep. Devin called my mom, Devin called my dad, Devin called his parents. He called Zoe's godparents. And one of our pastors to come to the hospital with us, which is my aunt and uncle. And it's late. It's like 9:30 when everybody gets there. And then once everyone gets there, they're all talking, they're like seeing me, in there, and y'all, the epidural caused me to shake. Like, I was shaking really bad. Like, I wasn't cold, I was just shaking. Like, my body was just shaking. I guess because of all the shock and pain and everything that your body goes through while you're in labor. I guess that's what it was. And then the medicine, and it was just a lot. And so the nurse comes in and she's like, okay, we're going to turn the lights out. We want mom to get some rest. I'm going to come back in about 30 minutes and I'm going to break your water. I say, okay. So she comes in, she breaks my water, and she's like, oh, hun, you're like at a 9. Like, this Pitocin is working. You're at a 9. And she's like, your water bag is bulging. And so she like broke my water, and I couldn't really feel it when she broke it. All I felt was like warm water. Like, I felt like I was peeing on myself. And I was like, I think I'm peeing. And they were like, no, it's your water. And I was like, okay. And so after they broke my water, she was like, okay, now you're at an 8. Your water bag bulging is what causes you to be at a 9. So get some rest. I'm going to come back at midnight and we're going to have a baby. And I was like, okay, oh, Devin, she's going to be born on your birthday. How cool is that? And da-da-da-da. And so we talked about that for a little while. I tried to go to sleep. I could not go to sleep. I guess I was so excited and just ready for her to come out that I couldn't sleep. And so the doctor comes in at about 11:12 or 11:30, sometime she comes in. And she's like, okay, we're going to do some practice pushing, just so you can get a feel of what we want and we can see how far she is descended and everything like that. And I was like, okay. So they kick everybody out of the room except for Devin's mom, and my mom. I really wanted my sister to be in there, but they gave me a three people max, even though my doctor told me that I could have however many people I wanted in there. The doctor on call was like, nope, 3 people max. So my sister didn't get to see Zoe like come out, but hopefully the next one. So she's like, I'm like practice pushing, and she's like, okay, we'll stop. I'm gonna let you rest a little while. I'll be back at 12. I don't know what happened, because 12 o'clock ended up being 2 o'clock. So the doctor comes back at 2, and 2 a.m. Sunday morning, January 20th, Devin's birthday, and Zoe's birthday now, comes back in, and she's like, all right, let's have a baby. Let's have a baby, because they had me like, I don't know, the way they had the bed was like, so I was like defying gravity, so the gravity would pull her down. I don't know, it made sense to them, so I was like, whatever. So they had me like that on the bed, and then they came and was like, okay, she's descended far enough, let's try to push. I started pushing at 2:12 a.m. I pushed for 1 hour exactly. Zoe was born at 3:12 a.m. on January 20th, 2019. And it was the most real life, surreal moment I've ever experienced. It's one of the best moments I've ever had in my life. As I was pushing, because I had my epidural, I wasn't supposed to feel anything, which I didn't for the most part. But once I got her head out, I started freaking out. I didn't know her head was out, but once her head was out, I started to freak out, because I could feel like a really intense burn, and that scared me. I was like, oh my gosh, it burns, it burns, it burns, it burns. And the doctors and nurses were like, oh my gosh, check her epidural, like make sure she's, like, I thought she was on a drip, like what's going on? Turns out I wasn't completely numb. I felt her shoulders come out. But my mom, I'll never forget, my mom was like, Tiana, you have got to push this baby out. Her head is sticking out and she's looking around. You've got to push this baby out. And I was just like, shut up. And Devin was like, and Devin's mom was like, it's okay. Like, she was holding my hand. It's okay. Rubbing my hair. And the doctor looked at me and she was like, Tiana, don't you want to meet your beautiful baby? If you don't push, you are going to continue to cut off her circulation. You've got to push this baby out. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready, I'm ready. And I just bared down one last time and she was out. And she didn't cry. They laid her on my chest. She was so sweet. She just looked up at me like, Mama. And I looked at her like, Zozo, oh my gosh, my baby. I've had a whole baby. This is bananas. And that's the story of my labor. I cannot believe that I did it on 2 hours of sleep. I was in labor for 73 hours. 73 hours. But I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. And that's the story of my labor and my delivery. Bye. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.